David began to live as a fugitive. He wandered through deserts, caves, and fortified cities. He never stayed in the same place for long. Saul pursued him relentlessly, with soldiers, weapons, and strategies. But even while he was on the run, David was not alone. Brave men joined him. Men in debt, in distress, and rejected. And they made him their leader. They took shelter in the cave of Adullam. It was a dark, damp hiding place, far from the palace, but full of loyalty. There, among the rocks and silence, a different army was formed. Not driven by ambition, but by purpose. David led with courage and faith. And even far from the throne, God trained him to reign. With his men, David rescued the city of Keilah, which was under attack by the Philistines. He won the battle and saved the people. But when he learned that Saul would come after him, he asked the Lord, "Will the people of Keilah hand me over?" And God answered, "Yes, they will hand you over." David fled again. Day after day, Saul searched for him, but God would not let him find him. David arrived in the desert of Ziph. There, Jonathan visited him in secret. He strengthened his faith. He said, "You will reign over Israel. My father knows that." They renewed the pact and said goodbye one last time. Soon afterward, the Ziphites betrayed David. They told Saul where he was. Saul marched with his soldiers and almost surrounded him. But news arrived. The Philistines had invaded the land. Saul had to retreat. God used war to free his anointed. David hid in En-Gedi, while Saul was resting in a cave. David, who was already inside with his men, quietly approached and cut off the corner of the king's robe. He did not harm him. When Saul came out, David called to him from afar, "My lord, the king." He showed the edge of his cloak and said, "I could have killed you, but I didn't. I will not raise my hand against the Lord's anointed." Saul, ashamed, wept. He replied, "You are more righteous than I. The Lord will reward you." And he went home. But David did not trust him. He remained with his men in the desert strongholds. Sometime later, Samuel the prophet died. All Israel mourned him. It was the end of an era, and David went on his way. One day, in the desert of Paran, David and his men protected the flocks of a rich man named Nabal. Expecting gratitude, they sent messengers asking for food. But Nabal insulted David. He refused help. David became enraged. He prepared to attack. But Abigail, Nabal's wife, heard what had happened. Quickly and wisely, she took food and went to meet David. She bowed down before him. She asked for forgiveness for her husband. His words were gentle and full of honor. David listened, gave up the attack, and said, "Blessed be your wisdom." A few days later, Nabal died, and David took Abigail as his wife. Even on the run, God was molding the heart of the future king, and the lessons of the wilderness became part of the plan.